So as you saw in the intro, today we're going to be working on making fairy globes. All you need is a regular globe like this. Just make sure that the globe part isn't made of glass or anything like that, something that you can actually drill through, because that's what we're going to be doing first. And yeah, any size really works. I've done them with small ones, I've done them with bigger ones. Preferably a bigger one if you want to put more of a scene inside. If you have a small one, you're not going to be able to fit that much in there. But any size works, and whatever works for you is perfect. So first, you're going to take Sharpie, and I've already marked on here the part that I'm going to cut out. The first mistake that I made when making the first one of these was making a hole that was too small, and then it was really hard to work inside there because I couldn't fit all the pieces that I wanted to put in since I didn't have enough space to work. Now, I've never seen a tutorial for one of these. I saw a picture on Pinterest and decided to try to make one. Couldn't find anyone that would tell me how to do it, so this is just how I figured out how to do it. I'm sure there's probably a better way, but I do have to say, for getting into the globe, I use this little drill bit. I found it on Amazon. I think it was about 25 bucks. And I just use the saw piece to drill around the whole circle that I've outlined here. I do have to say, you don't want to use a knife or anything like that. Globes are made of two halves of this circle or globe stuck together, and if you use a knife and put some more leverage on that, you're more likely to snap the two pieces apart, tear the paper covering the globe, all sorts of things like that, and that won't look good at all. Usually it's still salvageable if you are drilling and the two parts do pop apart near the part where you're drilling. It has happened before. I was still able to work with it and just reinforce it a little bit with some glue. But it doesn't look as good when you do break it, and there's always a chance that you could completely, ruin the globe. So be careful when you get to the seam. Just find where it is and make a note of that while you're doing your drilling. But other than that, you're just going to follow your line and try to drill as consistently as you can. I'm not going to show all the drilling on here because it takes a really long time. One other thing that you can do is you can try to see, I don't think this one is going to let me take it off, but if you can undo the top part and take the whole globe circle thing out, then it makes it so much easier to drill because you can get better angles and you don't have to deal with the stand in the way. But yeah, other than that, just go ahead and start drilling, and I'll come back as soon as I've done that. Alright, so as you can see, we now have our hole cut out of the globe. I tried to do one big enough that it's going to give me enough room to work in there, but also, still give me enough of something in there. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to measure as flat as I can along the bottom here to see how much of a platform I need to make. I'm going to go right about there, and I'm just going to mark that on a piece of paper here. Okay, and then across the same way. This is a little bit harder because of the pole in the center. I've worked with ones that don't have a pole in the center, and I do have to say they are a lot more fun to work with. And we're going to go about 6. Okay. Now this is a very rough way to do it. If you want to be more dignified in the way that you manage this, be my guest. Alright, so basically all I'm going to do now is just make a very rough circle of this. It is not going to be perfect, and that's fine for this right now. Yeah, just a basic rough circle like that. And then I'm just going to cut it out. And again, doesn't have to be perfect in any way at all. Now, I'm going to take the globe out really quick. All right, and now that I have that, I'm going to test this inside my globe. And it looks like I need to trim it down below just a little bit. So I'm just going to do that. Again, eyeballing it. If you're more worried about measurements, you can be a little bit more exact. I just don't have the patience, I guess. All right. So then we're going to take our circle and trace it onto a piece of cardboard. I usually just use old Amazon boxes or whatever packages I've gotten lately. Okay, then we're just going to cut that out. Alrighty. Then I'm just going to test it in the globe once more. Which way did I have it? That way. Okay, just like that. And it's a little loose, but it's good enough. Okay. So then the next part is going to be to make it look like an actual flooring. And we're going to use that, or do that, using craft sticks. Or tongue depressors, whatever you want to call them. I get these at Michael's. Or Walmart. I might have gotten these at Walmart. I don't know. But you can get them pretty much any store, anywhere. And we're just going to use these to make this look like it has flooring. Or wood panel flooring. Just by cutting off the ends and gluing them all up that way. So I'm going to speed up my doing this part. Because it's boring. Okay, so now that we have our flooring on, and it looks very nice, we're going to test it out on the globe. So basically, it's going to wind up looking like this. Don't worry if there's some not so nice looking space right there. It's going to get covered and you won't see it, which is why I don't worry about being too specific in measurements, because I know that I'm just going to cover stuff up. So it doesn't really matter if it looks perfect. But yeah, so now since this globe has a pole that goes through the middle, our first order of business is to figure out where that pole is going to come through. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be right about there, which I think lines up kind of with the dot that I put on the, right about there, yeah. Okay, so if it's right around here, then what we have to do is we have to make a hole big enough for this to get through, so that it doesn't look weird. So what I'm going to try to do that with is the drill. Okay, so now that we've got that, what we're going to do is hot glue the platform in place. Okay, so I'm going to start at the front. And again, don't worry if it's a little bit messy. That's perfectly fine. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit more glue around the back. Make sure it's all solidly in place. And we have our little platform there. This is a little bit loose. Okay, and now we're going to add the moss on the edge, which is one of my favorite parts. So let me see, where did I put it? All right, I have 2 bags of this moss. I get this from Michael's. It's fairly good price, but you could probably find it cheaper online if you want to go searching. I'm impatient, so I have not ordered it online. But basically, you're just going to get some clumps, get rid of any loose hanging bits because they might get in your way. Spread it out a little bit. Put some hot glue on there. And then just stick it on and let it dry in place. And you're just going to do that the whole way around. Alright, so as you can see, we now have it completely covered in moss, and I love it. This is the best part of working on these things. You can see how pretty it's turning out. It's very encouraging, very satisfying. So the next thing that we're going to do is put lights in. This is the first time I'm using these, but I got these off of Amazon, and I'm going to try them out and see how, oh, came with a little screwdriver. Yeah, I haven't even opened these yet, but I'm going to see how they work out. Hopefully they do. So it comes with that little package. Let's see. Ooh, perfect. Okay, so I'm turn this off. See if I can unwind this real quick. Okay. Alright, so when you're doing lights, it does help to be aware. Oh, that's a good long length. Sweet. It does help to be aware of the design that you're planning on doing inside. So what I'm planning on doing is a whole little artist nook with a bit of a fantasy theme. So I got these at Hobby Lobby. And it's just like a little artist table that I wanted to use. It's super cute. So I'm planning on putting this at the back, just like that. I am going to do something with the pole, I think, but so I'm thinking that this is probably going to go under here. Now, my goal with lights is always to get it around the edge and to loop it around the back wall. That way it's just, you know, more encompassing. It functions more as its own little light. Now I'm going to do the ring first because I think that's the most important part. But if we have enough, we're going to be doing the back part there too. So yeah, I'm just going to be using hot glue to stick it all in place around the circle here. Okay, so there we have it with the lights on. I know that I left a few parts that are a little bit less full of lights, but I'm planning on putting in some little decorations in the moss there, so I figured I would just leave them like that. I'm really happy with how these lights are working. They're way easier than any of the other lights that I've used so far, so I would definitely recommend getting these if you're going to be trying something like that, or even if you're just doing little dollhouse things or fairy house things, try them out. They work really well, and they're pretty bright, very pretty. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to be putting on there are these little mushrooms. These are from Michaels. I thought they would be cute to put on the rim. This is the first time I've added any kind of stuff like this. These are adorable. Alright, so what we're going to try to do is just put them so that they're just like that, I think. And I'm assuming I'm just going to be hot gluing these in place, just like everything else. Alright, so now that I've got all these little mushrooms in place, which I love, I have a couple of these little roses. I'm only going to use 2. These are also from Michaels. With it being right there, I'm just going to turn it and glue it. And I am going to cover up all these glue marks with a little bit more moss. So don't worry if it gets a little bit messy, you can always just cover it up again. Okay, I think that's good. These stems are a little bit harder to twist the way that I want, but that's okay. Alright, I'm going to try to hold that in place while I get the glue. Okay. And obviously you don't have to add anything on the edge. This is just what I'm doing this time because I thought it would be fun. Now it's time to do the inside. Alright, so like I said, I want to do the artist bench in here and do it kind of like an artist's dream. So I got this little dragon, also from Michaels. It's adorable. And I'm thinking I'm just going to be putting that in the corner now. But now that I look at it, I think that it really does need some more lights. So I think I might do some up the center here or around the back. I'm going to play with it and see what happens. Alright, so I wound up having to take it off the stand so that I could get this all on. And now with both of them on, we have that. And I'm going to try and cover up all my wires with moss and stuff like I said. But I think it looks much brighter this way. Definitely better. Okay, folks, so this is what we've got. And then with both lights on, voila. I like it so much better with the mossed in bit, and now it just looks like there's little fairy lights all over the place. Now, I cut off the stems of some of these little mushrooms, and I'm just going to put those all in there. I have about 5, I might not use them all, just to give it a little bit more color inside there, real quick. Voila. Alright, and now I'm just going to get this back on the stand. As I said before, I also have this little craft table, and that's going to go over our lights to try and block the ugliness a little bit. I'm going to try and set it so that they're like directly beneath it. That way someone might be able to get them out a bit easier if they need to change the batteries or something like that. Now, I also do have these. They're little cats. I'm only going to use one, but I thought cat and dragon would be super cute. Little pet buddies. So we have a little cat there, and I think I'm going to put her near his feet somewhere like that. Listen closer. I might move her though. I don't know. And then we have these little mini books, and I'm just going to make like a little stack of them, a little bit haphazard. And I'm going to put them right there. Probably going to tilt one down just like that. Okay. And then I also have these. Ignore the little holes. My glue gun dripped on it. A little cake and coffee. I'm going to set that cake, I think, right there. And then my coffee somewhere else on the table. And I think that that'll be about it. So I'm going to glue this all in really quick. Alright, so there you have it. Off camera, I did add a little bit of moss there and a little mushroom, just so like it's growing through the floorboards. I didn't glue this in place because the little light switch is under there. I wanted it to be easy to pull it out and get to the light switch instead of having to finagle your fingers around in there until you're able to reach it. But overall, I am super happy with this turnout. I think it's super cute. So yeah. Alright, well that's it for the video today. I hope you're able to figure out how to make one of these on your own, or you just enjoyed watching. Have a great day.